Alright, what we got is a 2011 Chevy Malibu. I was looking on YouTube everywhere trying to find something to troubleshoot a U2143 code. I couldn't come up with anything decent. I found some troubleshooting stuff, but really it never told you what the repair was. So on this one, what happened, this is actually my mom's car. She brought it in, the steering went out on it. She brought it to a repair facility and they changed the power steering unit. Now, ever since then, it's had that ESC light come on and that U2143 code. She was told some different stuff from the place that did the repair. Really, they gave her kind of a line, and she's been driving it for 2 years. I came to my house with it. I did some front wheel bearings on it. I was looking to see if I could figure out what the problem was. Started getting into it, and I just thought I'd show you guys how to fix this problem now that I have an idea how to troubleshoot it, find the issue, and kind of see what's going on with it. You could have a problem with your data link wires, you could have a bad ABS or ABS ATC module, or like we had, the power steering module failed. Alright guys, on this is the unit out of the dash. I have it sitting out here, easy to look at. This is a power steering module. If you have the 4-cylinder, it has electric power steering. On this unit, I got one from the junkyard because we had already paid for it. I wasn't positive what the repair was here. But initially what I did is I tested the data link wires on here. Now, on this data link, you're going to use a digital voltometer, and you're looking for 60 ohms of resistance in your data link. So if you guys come around, sneak in, maybe you can kind of shoot you through, back behind me through the window here. But underneath, you're going to have to get in here, Cam. Let me see it.
Get that.
Underneath is a data link connector. You want to grab me that flashlight thing I got on the toolbox. Right here, this is where we're going to check our resistance. Let me put a flashlight, that'll help us out a little bit. Now your data link wires are the two wires here. You're going to set your meter up and just probe these two as one over the other. They're not the ones in the end, there's only two of them that have above and below links. See, I'm probing them too, and I should read 60 ohms. You see we got 60 ohms of resistance. What it is there's two 120 ohm resistors in there. Together, when all your data link wires are hooked up, you should see 60 ohms. So then we're going to come out here, and we're going to try two things. One is the connector on here, on my power steering unit. This is under the dash. I'll give you a better close-up of it later. But this one that I have pulled out in the middle is the actual one that hooks into the data link. What you have in there is two sets of data link wires and one. Bring it in on there. Bring it in on the connector cam. What you want to do is you pull the blue connector portion out, and these pop right out. Real easy to unhook. Now you're going to pull the center one out. Like I said, there's two sets of brown wires. Those are your data link wires. And then you have one wire coming in that's just a power wire. So you're going to check for ignition and power on that one. And then disconnect that connector. Go back under the dash and test those two pins. You should see 120 ohms. If you have that, you know your wiring is good between this connector and the data link connector. And then the second thing we do is come over here into the car. We have the connector for our ABS or the traction control. This just has a little red knob on it. What we do is push that forward, push the button in, and that lever ratchets open, and you use that to pull the connector off. When you have that connector off, do the same thing. Check those pins with the one hook back up on your power steering, and you should see 120 ohms of resistance. So you know the wiring is good up to this point also. We'll lock that back in, but this is your ABS ATC module. That's how what I use to check the wiring. I also check from pin to pin and check resistance. If you want to go that far, you can. What I also did is I had a meter, I had it hooked up, and I could read my steering inputs when I went into the power steering module, but I wasn't reading them in the traction control module. So what I did, guys, that led me to believe I needed a traction control module. So I went to the junkyard, bought a traction control module. I paid like $40 for this. I plugged it in. I didn't hook all the lines up because obviously I was just checking to see the electrical portion of it. I hooked this up. Everything was okay. So I was thrown for a loop. I really didn't want to spend a whole bunch more money, but I found another unit at the junkyard. Again, $50 for the entire unit. Now this, to take this apart, this motor comes right off of here. They sold me the whole thing. The only thing you're going to need is it's a reverse Torx E8. So you have to stop at your parts store and borrow one of those if you don't have one. All you have to do, and under the dash you can do this. Every video I watch, guys, they pull the entire dash apart. All you have to do is pull the lower cover and you can get in there and separate these two. It's just 2 bolts. This slides right out. All it does is go in, it pushes in, locks in place, pull it out. You have the 3 connectors and you can change that out. If you're doing this and your power steering quit working and you want to try one of these motors, just go to the junkyard, get the motor, put it on. Right? You don't have to pull the whole dash apart. All I pulled off the dash on this car was this lower panel that sits underneath the dash. It just has 2 screws in it and then it slides out. This is all I had to pull to get that out. It's about a 10-minute job to actually change that power steering unit, module, whatever you want to call it. So hopefully this helps you guys. Again, in this case it was the power steering module. Yours could be the ATC. You could have a wiring problem. The thing I had is I had no other codes. I had nothing else that was telling me it was a diagnostic data link problem. If you have a bad data link, I'm guessing you're going to see a bunch of different codes. I could go in and physically communicate with this. I was able to calibrate it. One other thing I forgot to say, calibrate it. At the end you want to calibrate this. So hopefully you, or you can get a hold of somebody who has a unit that you can get in there. Just go under alignment. It's one of the last things. Put calibrate sensor, start the car, turn the wheel all the way to the left, all the way to the right, and they're calibrated. Real easy fix. Hopefully this helps you guys out. I just wanted to make something because like I said, there wasn't anything out there. Thank you.